So you're taking advantage of the winter sun, are you, Ollie, for a bit of sunbathing? You can also do a bit of neighbourhood watching up there as well, can't you? You can let me know if there's something interesting going on, if you can stay awake long enough. So hi there, it's Anne of Rosie Duck Designs here. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. We're now at that period of time where we can enjoy Sale-A-Bration as well as the launch of the new catalogue. But in particular, I'm featuring one of the Sale-A-Bration rewards. Sale-A-Bration itself runs from the 3rd of January right through to the 31st of March. And I'm actually featuring a kit that you can find on page 9 of the Sale-A-Bration brochure. And it's this one, the Kerchief Card Kit. Personally, I love a card kit because it's brilliant if you have a card to make when you weren't expecting to need one, and to have all the elements there to put something together very quickly is always very useful, I have to say. This one in particular is lovely because it has a number of really pretty colours in it. So balmy blue, coastal cabana, early espresso, gold, mossy meadow, night of navy, petal pink, pear pizzazz, poppy parade, and of course whisper white. So something there for everybody's taste. And it is one of the level 1 Sale-A-Bration rewards. So to be able to have this as your free gift, it just requires an order of £45, excluding postage and packing. Now, I know from very personal experience that it's really not hard to spend £45, so quite easy to get your hands on this particular kit if that's what you fancy. But there are a number of different rewards that you can have during Sale-A-Bration, and there's going to be lots of information on my blog as the days go on, not only about Sale-A-Bration but about all the new products that you'll find in the new catalogue. So I will put a link to my blog at the front of the video as always, but if you like to click on the subscribe button, that will make sure that you will be kept up to date with all of the new information that's coming out regarding Sale-A-Bration, as well as the new catalogue. And also from my blog you can access my other social media, which will also be featuring a number of a lot of information about the new products that we now have available. So the card kit, it comes with 8 cards, 4 of the blue ones and 4 of the poppy parade colour. Now I have to say I've been using mine, so it's kind of in a bit of a mess to say the least, but I will attempt to retrieve all the bits and pieces. And it literally comes complete with everything that you will need to complete these 2 cards. So these are the cards. And these are the envelopes. So you've even got the matching colours in the envelopes. You receive with it some vellum pieces and some blue dots and some sentiments and some stamping dimensions. And you've also got these little die cut elements. Excuse me. Still slightly recovering, I have to say. The little flowers and some leaves. And now all I've got to do is make sense of what happens with all the various bits and pieces. So these are your die cuts. It comes in English as well as French and in German. So that's quite handy if you've got family or friends in countries that speak either of those 2 languages as well. I'm also going to pass on a little tip about also how we can use these if we're not going to want them in the other languages. So let me just try and clear my desk slightly. Even this is, I know I work in a mess, but this is slightly too big of a mess for me, I have to say. So, there we go. So your card kit will come with the instructions on how to make the two different cards. And you've got, oh, I forgot to mention this, the twine as well you get with the kit. So it will come with ideas of how you are supposed to put the card together, and it tells you what to cut. So for this one, for example, you need 12 inches of the twine, and you need 2 of the gold foil leaves and a small gold foil leaf. And you obviously need the blue element here and the blue flower, and they've used the Celebrate Today here. And you've got instructions of number 1 and number 2. So if you flip this over, number 1 is telling you to adhere these pieces using the stamping dimensionals, which are these. And number 2, it tells you to adhere these using the glue dots, which you have a nice little packet of glue dots there. It also gives you some tips here, because the blue card features this piece of vellum which has these little gold dots on it. Now vellum will show, glue will show through vellum, excuse me, blue will show through vellum, so if you were to stick your glue dot in here, you would see that little mark of the glue dot. So it's giving you a tip and telling you to adhere your glue dots at the back of the gold elements, and that way it won't show through at all on your card. And then it tells you on the plain vellum, which is this bit, it tells you to place adhesive dots in the centre so that the label will hide them. So they've done their thinking of you sentiment here, so it's telling you to place the glue dots on the vellum in the middle so that you won't be able to see them. So you have literally got all your instructions to put those cards together, and you've got everything you could possibly need to do that with the instructions. What I want to do is to just go slightly off piste and just use them to make cards, but just with a little few additions that we can do to make them slightly more unique, so we don't finish up with 8 cards looking, or 4 cards looking the same. So as I say, all your instructions are in there and you don't need anything else, but I'm going to add to mine just a few more stamping dimensionals. I'm going to use some Wink of Stella, of course. I'm going to use 1 sentiment and some Poppy Parade ink. So that is just my additions that I'm adding to make it just a little bit more interesting. And I'm also going to, the blue ones have been made so that they are in a portrait style. These have been made in a landscape style, so I'm just going to mix that up a little bit as well. So if you'd just like to pause that just for a moment while I try and make some sense of the mess that's on my desk. So I think I'm there, no guarantees of course. The first thing you need to think about is the little element of the twine. Now both of these pictures are showing a really pretty droopy bow, which looks amazing on there, I have to say. Look, there's probably a better one there of it. Now I've tried this and it won't surprise you, it looked totally rubbish, so I'm not even going to go there. But basically it's telling you to cut 12 inches. Oops, that's next door having work done. I thought it was you with the ump for a minute there, Ollie. So it tells you to cut 12 inches. I'm not going to do that because I'm not making a big long droopy bow, so I'm just going to go with 8 inches. And when you cut it, state the, or look at the obvious problem, that it's going to be quite hard to tie anything with that, even if you're good at bows. So what you need to do is just take a piece of dampened kitchen roll, just run it along, making it wet enough to straighten it. So not so that it's soaking wet, but just so that you've straightened it enough. And that's nice and straight now. And then you just need to put that somewhere to dry it. Now I have been putting mine on the radiator, but it should be alright there because it's quite sunny up there. So we'll use that for our second card. So I'm doing the purple, no, not the purple, the poppy parade coloured one first. It comes already scored, so you just fold it in half. And I'm going to stick with the landscape style for that. And we need a piece of the plain vellum. So I'm very much sticking to what they're telling us to do, but I'm just shaking it up a little bit. Now, as we said earlier, the idea is that you can put your adhesive dots, glue dots, in the centre there to hold your vellum. If you've got some snail, it's going to be so much easier to just put a couple of lines of snail in the middle. Are we all alright here?
It's going down.
We're about to have a cat fight, are we?
Yep.
Right, okay. Do we want to stop it and sort it out before it kicks off? Or are we just going to let them get on with it? Show themselves up on camera. Never a dull moment in this house, is there? What are you doing, Marley? Me sticking my vellum not straight. It's a new year and it still doesn't get any better. It's not that hard, is it, sticking vellum on a piece of card? Seriously. There we go. It's nice and centralised. I thought I'd step it up a little bit and just, you know, stick the vellum where it shouldn't be. So it's telling me that I need 4 of the large gold foil leaves. So that's these. Put those out of the way because I don't need those. You've been brave, Ollie. Pack it up, Marley. Seriously. You can't have his job. He's the director. So I need 2 of the little gold florally leaves as well. Let's go with this one. Are you all right up there now? Now the sentiment that has been provided is this one, thinking of you. And I really like that sentiment, but in this instance I don't want to use that because I'm using the card just to send a note to somebody. So I basically want it as a note card. So this is where I'm going to go a little bit away from the card kit, and I'm going to use one of the, doesn't matter which one, but I'm going with the French one here. So I'm using the same shape, but I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm using my Butterfly Gala stamp set, and I'm just using this small stamp that says a little note. And with my Poppy Parade, just going to stamp on into the middle of the cut out piece of card, a little note, the sentiment of a little note. Now you can then add to that if you would like to by either adding some form of embellishment or another stamp. So on this one, for example, I've used this little floral stamp, which is from the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set. So it's on there somewhere. It's that one. So that's what I've used with that. And again, I've stamped that out using some Poppy Parade. On this one, I'm just going to add an embellishment, and this is from the Press Petals suite, and it's the designer elements which come in gold, copper and silver. So because we've got a gold theme going on with the gold leaves, I thought I would go with the little gold element. If I could find how to open it. There we are. Professional as ever. I have to say, you do get a bit of a headache with that constant drilling, don't you? So it comes with its own little glue dots. So I'm just going to stick that at the top there. And I'm going to stick this one down at the bottom here. So you can, oops. He's camera shy, yes. He's not. Yeah, I don't think he actually wants your job, Ollie. I think it's safe. But don't worry, I won't give it to the others. Oh, there's our doorbell as well. So, the usual sort of video from us with various distractions going on. So that's frightened my director off. He's disappeared. So returning to the card, it tells you to add these gold elements using the little adhesive glue dots that come with the kit, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't do that. However, I'm all for trying to make my life somewhat easier, so I'm going to go back to my snail, and I'm just going to put a little bit on either corner where I'm going to add the foil elements. So we basically want 2 gold ones of the longer leaves, and we want, you can have it all gold if you wish, or you can go with the suggestion of having some of the white. You can have it on the white side. I'm going to go with the white side on this, and I want that to be on the higher level, so in front of these. So I'm going to stick that down first. So I'll just take the cat's hair off of that first. So that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? There we go. So I'm going to apart from the fact never mind, I make these mistakes so you don't have to. I've stuck my snail on the wrong corners. I want my snail on these 2 corners, so I've got to make sure I work to these 2 corners. Good job I checked that, wasn't it? There we go. So I've done that one back to front, and then I'm going to put my gold elements right there. Supposed to be me with the cough. So I want that slightly behind, but I want it so it's covering a good side of that, or as much space on that corner to make it stand out. let's go with that one there. Now whilst I've got a snail on it, it still is, I'm still able to move it around because I haven't gone too mad with my snail. Somebody's clearly hungry. Oh dear, can this get any worse? Right, so that's our first corner. Did you not have breakfast? There we go. And then what I'm going to do is just put an extra bit of snail over there, just so it all sticks together nicely. And then I'm going to stick that on to the front of my card using some stamping dimensionals. In addition, I'm going to put a stamping dimensional on both of these elements that I've added to the back, which will again help to keep it that much more secure. Now again, I'm using additional stamping dimensionals, so I'm not limiting myself to just the ones that have come in the kit. And I'm guessing if you're into crafting to the point that you've put in an order to get this kit, then you're going to have the basics of things like glue and stamping dimensionals. So there is no reason why we can't just be a little bit more generous and add a few more. But if you, for example, buy or get this kit and you're thinking of giving it as a gift to somebody, then they have got absolutely everything that they need, apart from a pair of scissors with which to put this kit together. So I've put my vellum in the middle there, and that's going to be well and truly covered up by the sentiment and all the little floral elements. Any excuse for a bit of Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to add that just to some of the flowers, so that when you look at the card, it's going to have that bling, a little bit of bling going on, because we all need that in our lives. Well, you're back, are you, Ollie? I think it was a friendly face at the door, wasn't it? So that was okay. I'm just going around the larger flowers just to make them stand out a little bit more. Appreciate it's not really going to show up on camera, I don't think. This is coming to its end, this one. But I have got bling on there. I have got Wink of Stella. Just squeezed it a little bit to get some more down to, without flooding it. I'm doing this so that I'm adding a little bit extra, but I'm trying to put off that bit where I'm having to tie a bow. because we all know it's going to go disastrously wrong. 25, yeah, okay. So that's my card. Just to finish this one off, I'm going to take a piece of my straightened string, twine, to give it its correct title. Isn't too bad, does it? And I'm just going to take a glue dot I'm just going to place that on the corner there. And just trim off the excess on the end. And there's my little card with a difference. And there's its matching envelope. So this is another one that I've made. This time I've just used the stamp from the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set, and basically the same card going on there as well. So that's how I've just stepped this up a little bit, just to make it my own. I think we need to probably stop for lunch. Sound like a plan? And then I will be back and share with you putting together the blue one. So for the blue card, we want 2 of the gold longer leaves, and 1 of the smaller ones. We need 2 of the green leaves that we've got here. We need a piece of the vellum that's got the golden dots on it, and we need 1 of these blue ovals and 1 of these blue flowers. What I'm going to do first of all is to put some Wink of Stella on this flower. Now I'm going to go with a new one. So when you get your Wink of Stella, if it's the first time you've had it, you'll find that actually it comes like this, with this little band around it. So you need to unscrew it and take the band off, which then enables you to screw the tip back on, and in doing so you will then pierce the hole to release the Wink of Stella, and then just gently squeeze it. See, it starts to come down the barrel there, and then you've got a bit of a splodge which I'm now going to use. And I'm just going over basically the darker elements of the flower, so it's not all going to be covered in Wink of Stella. As much as I think it's probably a good idea to cover everything I come across in Wink of Stella, I'm going to limit myself to just the outside of it and the darker colours. Again, I don't think that's going to particularly show up.
Then down it does.
Oh, does it? Right, okay. That's good. So I'm just going to clear that little splodge off of there. So once you've done that, then your Wink of Stella will be flowing nicely and It's just a means of getting it going. So there's no great wastage with it, is what I'm trying to say. So let me just revert back to this. So it's saying that this one, the blue flower, should be stuck down with an adhesive dot, and that I'm just trying to read this. Yeah, and the Celebrate Today is stuck down with the no, let's try this one again. Yeah, sorry. that's stuck down with stamping dimensionals, and these are stuck down with stamping with glue dots. I'm not going to do that.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Because I kind of want it to be lifted off the page a little bit more, so I am going to go with stamping dimensional onto the back of my flower. And on these cards I've done two different things. I've put the elements that are going to be stuck at the back here, I've actually attached those to the blue oval on that card, and on this card I've attached them effectively behind the flower. Now if I was going to do that again, I would be putting my snail on here and then sticking all the elements before I've added my glue dots. No, before I've added my stamping dimensionals. I'm going to go with this idea of sticking all the little elements onto the blue oval in this instance. But firstly I'm going to stick my vellum onto my base card. Now I'm going to go back to the glue dots that you get in the pack, and we're just going to stick them over the gold dots on the front, and I'm just going to put them strategically so that they're where they're going to hold the vellum in place. I could, if I wanted to make life easier, again I could just use some snail across the middle, or basically in the area that I'm going to stick this element, but I'm actually going to do what they've suggested in this instance. It's good to keep to the rules sometimes, isn't it? So there's no quick way of doing this particularly. So talk amongst yourselves moment. See, this is when my director should be. Oh, you are actually, you are up, but you're having a wash. So it's probably not a good look, is it? We know what can go wrong when you have a wash. So I think one more will do it. They do have a good adhesive quality, the glue dots, especially if you can get them off your finger. So we just need to take off the backing card, or the backing piece of paper. So snail would be easier, but doing it this way, you're giving yourself the opportunity to basically put the design that you come up with. You can put that anywhere you like, because you're not going to see any glue through this. There's no sign of any glue. Actually there is up here because I've still got an end on it, but there we go. So this time I'm going to stick it in the middle, because it doesn't matter which way you go, whether you do portrait or you go with landscape. Just fold our card in half, and I'm going to go with excuse me, I'm going to go with a landscape version of the card. On here it's a portrait, and the suggestion is that you make your little element up here and you stick it at the bottom here, with this going across there basically, which looks very nice, I have to say. You obviously get a lot more of the golden element. This is just me and my thought on it, that it's kind of all down this end, and I personally like to see a little bit more going on throughout the card. So it's just a personal taste, which is why I'm just changing it around a little bit to suit me. Try and remember which way I'm doing the card. So I'm going to put some snail right across the back of my oval, and then we're going to build it up. Now we're wanting, this bit is going to be the top layer, so to speak, so that has to go down first. And I'm going to go with the white side just to give a little bit of contrast. Again, although I've put snail on here, I've not gone too mad, so you can, if you're careful, just pull it up again to just rearrange it if you're not particularly happy with where you've put everything. Excuse me. Have a sip of water out of my very pretty flamingo cup that my husband very kindly bought me the other day, because I do like a flamingo. I do like bling, and I do like flamingos. I like the idea of being a flamingo in a flock of pigeons, but unfortunately I'm normally the pigeon in a flock of in a flock of flamingos. But you can't have everything in this life, can you? So I think I've kind of done that again, haven't I? I've done it on the wrong corner, seriously. It was looking so good as well, look. Right, so I want it this way, so it's got to go in this corner. Perhaps I should just stick to the way the kit was made. There we go. That's better, look. Now I'm just checking that I am actually happy with that. Because I'm going on the portrait style, I don't want this flapping over the top of the card, so I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. That's fine. Now I want to add now these green leaves. So again, you would be using the stamping glue dots, or the glue dots rather, if you were sticking to the kit. I'm just going to stick a little bit of snail on top of there, and then I'm just going to add my green leaves so that these are basically sitting in the middle. So the long gold leaf is in the middle of that green leaf. And I've got that one sticking out here more, and that a little bit more behind. So that is my middle element done. And I'm going to now attach that again using more stamping dimensionals. So the card is going to be nicely, or the embellishment part of it is going to be nicely raised from the card, just giving it a little bit more interest. And again, I've stuck a dimensional over this bit to help keep everything in place. Position that where I want it. So I'm going to go for the middle. And just by doing this, we're still seeing part of the gold, but it's not all about the gold, which it is in the idea in the kit, which, as I say, is a totally personal thing, but I just felt that I wanted to see it more as part of the card rather than just at the base of it. So I'm just now going to add the flower to that. And then I'm going to use the already pre-printed sentiment for this one of Celebrate Today. Again, we're using some stamping dimensions to put that on. And rather than have it running across here, I'm going to just put it down here at the bottom of the card, just in the corner here. Preferably the right way up. That would be a good idea. I've got that in the centre there. I'm just going to go around with my Wink of Stella just to bling up these little flowers around here. Not all of them, just mainly the larger ones.
What can we do with the piece of vellum that's sticking up in the corner?
Vellum. All right, yeah. We can pretend it hasn't happened. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? What do you think? It's not. I think actually I've still got the backing on this glue dot. I have. I didn't take the back off of it. There we go. You like that now? Is that all right? Well spotted. Now with this one, I didn't. I put it further down, and therefore I didn't leave room for a bow. I've made it more central. With this one, I'm going to see what a bow looks like because I love a challenge. Or not, as the case may be. We'll make quite a small little bow. See what that looks like. No, I don't think I particularly like that. No, I don't like that. So I'm just going to leave that blank. So there is another version of the card. It worked that way, but it doesn't really work there, does it? You could always find another little couple of little bits of embellishment possibly to put on there. I will have to give that some thought, but it's fine as it is, I think. So that's just some ideas to how to use the new card kit that is available in Sale-A-Bration. There will be, as I say, lots of other information coming up about Sale-A-Bration and the new catalogue. And to place a qualifying order to get your hands on this kit, you can use the link to my online shop that you'll find on the front of the video, as always. If you've enjoyed the video and it's given you a good laugh, then please do give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And also, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would also greatly appreciate that as well. So all sorts of things going on. So at this point, I'm not quite sure what I will be back with. There will very shortly be a walk through the new catalogue, but I think I've so we're not quite sure what happened there, but actually it's given me the opportunity to just say something that I'd forgotten about, and that was, if, like me, you decided that you didn't want to use one of the sentiments that we've been given and been pre-printed. So in my case it was the thinking of you, but it could just as easily have been the celebrate today. It does mean that whatever you don't use, you've got those left over for other cards. So again, quite handy if you're looking for a card in a hurry. You haven't got to cut out or stamp a sentiment. And also there's the opportunity to use the ones that perhaps you're not going to use. Just flip them over like we've done on this card, and just stamp on the back. So again, you've got a nice little label that's cut out ready for your sentiment to go. And if, like me, you haven't used all the twine, then you've got that as well to add to a card or two, if, unlike me, you're brave enough to give it a go. So as I was saying, lots of exciting things happening, and I will be back to talk a lot more about Sale-A-Bration and the new catalogue in the very near future. But for today, it's just left me to say thank you so much for joining us. And so it's goodbye from my cameraman Jim, from my very sleepy director. Are we going to get a reaction at all? Are we going to get a reaction at all from you? You're going to say goodbye to everybody? Are you? Say goodbye, see you next time. I might even try and be a bit more awake next time. But you're not promising, are you? So, as I say, thanks ever so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And until next time, do take care. But for now, bye bye.